Well, good morning. Thank you for joining us right here on African Dialogue. You're listening to Channel Africa, where you are getting the African perspective itself. Sandton will be the central hub where the 10th BRICS Summit will be taking place. Heads of state from Brazil, Russia, India and China, and African states such as Zambia, Egypt and Rwanda expected to attend the meeting. This time around, there's a lot of civil society that's coming together as well.
One of our main objectives is to bring BRICS to the people. That simply means that communities then are playing a pivotal role to ensure that every policy that has been designed is favorable to them, to communities, also is favorable to other BRIC countries, because the problems that we have within the BRIC countries are similar problems, and the way to address them is also similar.
There is a need for us to have information and more information, and also to influence also the policies, which will also affect us as the civil society in the ground.
Maximum support, maximum support, maximum support, maximum support, maximum support.
CivilBRICS, which is headed by EJN, has its secretariat in EJN has a steering committee with all the different organizations in all the different provinces.
We went to communities and got the voices. We need to go back and give feedback. Right. It may have not happened in your community.
The biggest highlight for me is seeing an amazing steering committee coming together. Often in international relations, from my experience, it's think tanks and institutions that come out of academic circles that engage in international relations. And for me to see people coming from communities that are away from those central hubs like Johannesburg and Cape Town, seeing them engage in international relations on equal footing with academics and the government officials, that to me is absolutely amazing.
Also include this idea of 3% of projects. 3% of projects being allocated over a 5-year period of time. For many years, civil society has been advocating for a special space, a track 3, called CivilBRICS People Forum. A lot of this meeting that we're having over the 2 days is also to bring on board communities and activists. There's representation from all 9 provinces of South Africa. And our aim, and we've been working with DIRCO, is to develop policy recommendations on various thematic issues. And ultimately, we hope to be able to influence the proceedings of the BRICS Summit, which will take place at the end of July under the South African chairship.
It has been the coming together, especially of these different voices, to formulate sort of complicated but detailed recommendations. The coming together of these diverse minds.
We cannot host a CivilBRICS in Africa and not talk about gender-based violence.
Maybe in the one that we are saying of work undertaken by women, including unpaid care work, unpaid work, we can add that countries must necessarily provide public services.
There have been policies that we've proposed that have been adopted and in the process of implementing. A perfect example would be the BRICS Gender and Women's Forum. There have been processes that we're working on around the New Development Bank and gender-related policies. So we feel that there's opportunity to implement and to infiltrate some of our thinking as civil society on the BRICS leaders.
Whatever we're talking, but that's supposed to be making sure that it formulates the agenda of sustaining women till the very end.
For DIRCO, the Department of International Relations, to actually embrace this body of civil society as a worthy body to engage with, I think that was the biggest highlight, just the recognition of civil society by the government.
A major win is that working very closely with the South African government, in particular the Department of International Relations and Cooperation, to collaborate with them and also have recognition of CivilBRICS. And this has been expressed in the Johannesburg Declaration in terms of inclusion of CivilBRICS in their statement this year.
Battle lines are drawn by the BRICS bloc in Johannesburg, with the heads of the emerging nations of Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa united in a stand against trade protectionism.
We know that there's been a few developments in the past 2 years in the institutionalization of BRICS, the most glamorous being the establishment of the new development bank. Now we know it's centered in Sandton, Johannesburg.
They bring additional development finance from the Global South, which we think it will take into consideration the needs of the poor and also counterbalancing the traditional development financing mechanism, which is your usual Bretton Woods institutions. So there is that anticipation and hope that it would consider the developmental and sustainable development agenda requirements and the needs, of, in particular for the African continent.
We have done these recommendations through an inclusive process. We started from all 9 provinces, and it later came to an international meeting where we had colleagues from other BRICS countries. Now this is more of a report back session to the whole nation. And like the chair said, we also need to go back to our communities.
This is a very central topic for the member states of the BRICS. And I think the issue of peace has recurred in all the BRICS summits since inception, and we've seen it being highlighted in their communique up until the Johannesburg communique. And yet, the member states, they have been emphasizing the commitment to human rights, rule of law, accountability, and justice.
Young people had a number of policy recommendations from the civil society perspective. We wanted an implementation structure as well as monitoring and evaluation structure that will assist the policy recommendations not only seeing the light in the declaration but being implemented.
This policy recommendation was not developed by the steering committee, it's your policy recommendations. And maybe we'll also view as a house part of what can we recommend further from what has been adopted in the recommendations.
We would like to seize this moment to again reiterate our recommendations as presented to the South African government through the Department of International Relations in 2018. We call upon the government of South Africa through the department to urgently bring our recommendations to the immediate attention of fellow BRICS member countries for consideration and to respond with haste.
The Johannesburg Declaration was deliberated over a period of 7 days. We are in close engagement with the Africa Regional Center. They obviously do engage with the New Development Bank quite frequently. Your communique will be closely studied, and we will engage other BRICS countries as well in terms of the contents.
One of the challenges is, okay, what next? We've developed CivilBRICS policy recommendations. How are we going to see these through?
We must use this opportunity to grasp and learn more things from these other countries so that we apply them in our country and then can make South Africa a better country going forward.